Good morning, everybody. Blue Quant, Shaky Beats. Good morning to you. God bless Beats. Appreciate that. You as well. Letting some people flow in, trying to wake up a little bit. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world. Hope you're doing well. Just a reminder, this is not financial advice. The information on this channel is provided for educational and informational purposes only without any express or implied warranty of any kind. That includes warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. Please feel free, read through this. Good stuff. All right, starting out with the news schedule. We have no news today. We've got nothing on the news calendar for today, which whenever you're looking at a Monday with no news, a lot of times the setups can be a little jagged. The price action can get a little cloudy. Things can get a little bit choppy. So we'll be watching today. We're going to go through our analysis and then build a thesis for each instrument, but ultimately understanding no news Monday, it might be a slow day, and that's fine. Tomorrow also there is no U.S. news, and then also on Wednesday there is no new U.S. news. On the back half of the week we do have some U.S. news. We have unemployment, looks like flash manufacturing, and then nothing on Friday as well. So we have one day this week with news. We might be looking at a less volatile week, or maybe a narrow range week or something like that. I don't know that for sure. I'm just looking at the news schedule and noticing how little news there is. We might be seeing a little bit more of a narrow range week. We'll see. Paulie, good morning. All right, NASDAQ. As always, we're going to start with 15-minute chart and zoomed out just a little bit. And we're going to take a look and see what has it done last week that can help us. How did it close last week? Was there any signals last week? What types of things are there that could assist us in looking for a setup? So, market go up. We've been triggering previous day's high. Then they came down. They triggered previous day's low. And then they went back to the high. So whenever you have a triggering like this of the previous day's low, you know, this could be a lower low on the inside, and then they go back to the high and retest. But ultimately, we have broken out. All right. So we've had a day one of the cycle, day two, day three of the cycle, and then we actually got a reset on Friday as well. So this is day one, day two. But if we're looking at it from the perspective, if we're trying to find a trading setup and a reason to execute a trade, we have a low down here that was put in place. And now they have gone back to the high and broken out. So we have kind of a day one, two, and three reset, day one, day two. However, we do have a place where a pump has began, which is good. Also, yesterday was a first red day. Now, this is a first red day in an up-moving market, so I have to be very cautious and careful of this because I don't want to go against something that's going up. Okay, so we possibly have a lower low on the inside of the previous week's range, but that was from last week, so I don't know if I really want to use that because we're in a new week and a new template. First red day on Friday, so Thursday pump. Friday first red, and then today we have pumped it back up off the low previous day, which is good. Almost in a bit of a three peaks here, and then we broke down and made lower lows. So this is that really nice, clean three push pattern that I've always kind of try to point out, the jagged, climbing three push pattern. We're making higher highs and higher lows. Chart's very clean. So you can see that the high was put in place at 4 o'clock in the morning, which also confirmed a higher low over here. And then now we've broken down and made lower lows. I would have to be waiting for it to essentially pull back now and try to find the first pullback to get in for low-hanging fruit down to and through the low of the day. Now, it is also first red day. So the other things that I'm going to look for, I'm not going to necessarily say, hey, this is an instrument that I'm going to trade. But if I was going to be watching this, I need to be watching this level here and this level here. Are we going to get trap volume below this? Are we going to get a squeeze from this? I'm not going to take that trade. Yesterday was first red day, and I think this template is valid. So I'm not going to take that. However, I want to be aware of it so that way I don't get caught trying to trade in the wrong direction. When in reality, this was a down closed bar in an up moving market. And then I get smoked, and I don't want to do that. Okay, US 30. US 30. All right, so fairly similar. We had a pivot point or a pivot on Wednesday of last week. First green day trade on Thursday. And then that resulted in a first red day on Friday. They went back to the high of the current week, tried to go higher, and then they got a first red day. So kind of similar to the NASDAQ. This is our low here. They've gone up 1 day, 2 days, first red day. And then that leads us into today. Now, this one has not dumped down as much as the NASDAQ, which I don't mind. This is a 15-minute chart. We'll go down to a 5-minute chart. This is pulled back. This is definitely pulled back. Let's see. Okay, so this definitely has. Did we go any higher here? No. Okay, so it's questionable whether or not this is a lower low. I think I'm going to consider this a lower low. The only reason I say it's questionable is because the way that it's pulled back, we've got one bar down, and this is kind of another bar or lower close, so I'm going to count this as 2. Trying to find the most significant pullback. So there's a high in place. We have the lower low, and they've now put a lower low in place and are pumping it back up. All right, how's everybody doing? It's very quiet. 9:24, we've got 6 minutes to the open. Indexes aren't looking bad. I wouldn't mind watching both indexes based off this first red day and just the way that we've pumped up. It's kind of nice. It at least gives me a very solid thesis to go off of. All right, we're going to gold. Gold, gold, gold. Where are we going? So last week we had a bit of a peak high on Wednesday, peak low on Thursday. So the peak high being put in place at the high of the current week, above previous day's high at the high of the week. So we kind of have a peak high on Monday as well. They actually traded above, and then the peak low comes in on Thursday. So this is the box that we had formed throughout last week. And now we're expanding that up. As far as actual trading setups go, we had the peak low put in on Thursday. First green on Friday that was not quite a breakout close, but that is the higher high, right? They broke and made a higher high. And then now today we broke out and we've continued to go higher. Do I have any sort of trading setup that I can look for up here? The only trading setup that I'd be willing to take or would be looking at is because we've broken out and pulled back and then gone higher, I would be just looking for the pump for the dump. Essentially, they've pumped it up really, really high off of previous day's high, the breakout level here. And there's a bit of a higher low here and then some space to get back down there. There's a lot of order flow built up here, so I wouldn't mind watching that. What I don't want to happen is they go up here and they just go into a consolidation, which happens quite frequently with this setup, so that's something I need to be aware of and watch out for. Okay. US 2000, the Russell. Okay, not going to waste anybody's time. This is the exact same setup that I would be looking for US 30 and NASDAQ. A really clean first red day. It looks very good. The way that this has built. Close at its lows. That's a lot of weakness. We got 3 peaks coming back up, especially on the Russell, right? We've got a higher high. And then now this is a lower low. And I'd have to say that I think that as far as how things are setting up, the Russell is probably my favorite. As of right now. Of course, that can change in a 1 5-minute bar. But this is really clean. Peak 1, peak 2, a little bit higher, peak 3. Just kidding, lower low. Pops back up, gets everybody trying to go short. We got everyone going long. They pop it back up and roll over. And they go back for the money. So I think that is a possibility. If it just keeps going higher, then I'm wrong. And I can move on with my day. Let's go to oil. Okay, oil was also, we had a first red on Monday and breakout day 1 to the downside on Tuesday of last week. Not quite a first green day, but it is a lower low on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, we got a first red, or a first green, excuse me, and a breakout day 1 to the upside. We got a peak low on Wednesday, peak high on Friday. Breakout that essentially failed to go higher, but it is a higher high on the inside of the week's range. It does not mean it will continue to go higher at all. And then today, they've triggered previous day's low. They've popped it up for 2 days, and this could have maybe be considered a first red, but usually first reds are going to come from high of the week. First greens are going to come from the low of the week. So I think I'm going to hold out on oil. But as far as a 3-day pattern, peak formation low, goes back up and attempts to go higher, fails to go higher, triggers previous day's low, breakout, pullback. Maybe we'll see a low-hanging fruit. I'm good with that thesis. That's solid. And it's a trading setup. So that's what I'm going to look for. All right, let's get to a 4 screen. It's 9:30. The opens. Open. Wild, right? There we go. So we got oil up here. US 30. I don't know why I have natural gas up there. We'll do gold and oil. I think I want to put the Russell up here. I think I'm going to put the Russell where NASDAQ is. Okay, I'm still watching oil, bottom right corner. Indexes as well, obviously. We are in the first 5. Yeah, that's just like a little nuance, Elite. Because it's basically you're trading from the outside, right? So when you're on the outside of the current week's range, high and low, that's usually where the best templates are going to come from. It's just like anything. So beats, you said many concepts click with the right context only. Yeah. Like there's a lot of little nuances and things like that, but they're fairly easy to remember. That's the good thing about it. Interesting. Okay. Getting a little bit of volatility. And by volatility, I just mean extreme back and forth. I have not entered anything. Still just watching, but these two really have my attention. Basically what I'm doing is I've noticed that we have this, I mean, this is a big down closed bar. This could be a 3 push pattern into the low. And then the way that they've retraced is a 1, 2, 3 on a 5-minute chart. So if we go up here, consolidate, and roll over, that would be good because we've made the lower low. We got a 1, 2, 3. And then now I'd just be looking for a bar to complete the pattern, and we're at 930. So that would be a high quality opportunity for me if, and that's a all caps, bold, italic, if. Highlight it too. Think about what 3 pushes signals. Could revert. It could be a reversal. It could be a trend. If we're making higher highs and higher lows, to end and before we go into a pullback, you could see 3 pushes. To end the pullback, you'll see 3 pushes. So if I wanted to trade a reversal setup or a counter trend opportunity, sure. If I want to take the trend opportunity, sure. So we've made a lower low. We've popped back up in 1, 2, 3. If it were to complete the pattern and go down, I would consider that a trend. You know, it's the first pullback in a trend move. Okay, we're into the second 5 minutes of the open. The first 5 minutes is done. Waiting to see. Likely pain, and also good. Engulfs past the push, pause, push, pause, push. So you're talking about here, 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 right? That's a good. It's a good catch as far as the 3 push pattern. The way that you saw that, it's very good. Uh, not always beats. Sometimes it'll just be a 1, 2, 3. Sometimes it'll be something like this, where you have first push catches my attention, and then the candle's relative gets smaller, pausing, and then you get an explosion, breakout bar, but that's larger than the last, gaining momentum, getting people to believe something is happening. And then you have a blow-off move in P3, trapping people at the high, and then reversing immediately. Okay, second 5 minutes of the open. We've got 46 seconds left on the bar. It would be nice to see it capable of closing lower. But right now, it kind of seems like it's struggling to do that. I see multiple people asking about... Yeah, so they've triggered the previous day's high. If I was going to consider this a lower low, I would have to say we're at the high of previous week, high of week. What setup am I now taking? It might not be a first red day trade. If it were to break back down, I'd have to wait for this high to fail. And I would have to take this very differently. I don't even think I would be willing to watch the NASDAQ, though. That's the problem. Based off of that pattern. Okay, new 5-minute bar. Opening, going down first. They're trapping. So they pinned up, got everybody going long, pinned down, got everybody going short. Now they're going to hold it in this box. On both indexes. So we need to see a close outside of this box. Or else we might be seeing that choppy session that I talked about at the beginning of the stream. One-minute chart's getting compressed. Push 1, push 2, P3, still not going anywhere. It's gonna need to go somewhere if its intention is to go down, it needs to go, or else that's probably a 3 push pattern. People are compressed in at the low on the open, and they might squeeze it higher. guess they're working the low over here as well. Okay, we're getting a little follow through on the US 30. Very nice. But was it fake? Because it's kind of feeling fake. Is gold a day one runner? Yeah, it's running, and it's day one. Do I do divergence? No. Yeah, all the indicators you see me using here are the ones that these are the only ones that I really use. Okay, so that's another 5-minute bar failing to close outside of that range. Honestly, that's not good. First 15. If we see the second 15 still close inside of this box, we might be looking at a very choppy session. Also looking at the 1. Some very convincing down close bars. Look at all of this strength to the downside. Oh my gosh. And then it just immediately takes it away every time. They're trapping in this area. Both of these, they got push 1, push 2, very strong P3, immediately getting taken away. Immediately getting taken away. On a no news Monday. They do the same thing on oil as well. Put these pins in both sides, and they've just been trading on the inside. 2 minutes left on this bar, just about. We're almost about to be into this the third hour of the session as well. So we might be seeing the real move taking place. I only have these boxed off just to illustrate the range that they've put us in. 9:30 opened. They pinned up. They pinned down. They're just holding it here. They're just holding it here. Trying to identify the choppy session early if it's going to take place. If they just keep opening and closing 5-minute bars on the inside of that range, much higher probability of a ranging market. Okay, new 5-minute bar opens with some volatility. Really convincing. Very. I like how strongly it opened. That bar opened, drove immediately straight down. Big bar. Scary. Maybe it'll keep going. Maybe it's a trap. Who knows? What I'm looking at right now is the relationship of how this bar just closed and then how these bars have closed. That's what I care about. Who is making money? Because they've popped it back up. They've opened bars. They've closed them a little bit higher so that when this bar opened, expanded downwards, and closed, it looks really big. But in reality, it hasn't gone anywhere. Hasn't gone anywhere at all. It's just sat in this one spot and done that, which is very convincing that it could continue to go lower. It might even convince people to execute. But thankfully, we know better. You're not going to fool me. This even looks a little bit like inverse head and shoulders material. We got left, head, right, building a right maybe. I guess oil maybe would have been the right move, but this bar it still didn't close out of this range. It just closed at the bottom. Yep, here you go. Please go short. Please. Never mind. And then now it's going to get squeezed out. The only reason I'm going through and walking through all this, I just keep sitting rambling about each bar and what it's doing is because I know how convincing each one of these could probably look to somebody just looking at it for the first time, or maybe not even the first time. You know, maybe just never seen it that way. So I like to point stuff out like that. Okay, now we have some very volatile, large up-close bars going back up. But if they go back up to the top of the range and do the exact same thing, then we still haven't established a direction. And I would be trading direction if I took that. The only real trading setup that I have right now is we've made this lower low and we're in the first pullback, and the only thing I am waiting for, the only thing, is for them to stop playing games and do something like this. Complete the pattern to the downside. I have no other setup, so that's what I have to wait for. And if that doesn't happen, nothing. And it really feels squeeze-like. They are really squeezing off that low. You get that real creeping trend on both indexes. Creep and creep and creep. And then taking it away. One last attempt to the low. And then ripping it back up. $9.55. It's a very clean W. I think all of this was actually contained, for the most part, on the inside of this 1 bar's range. The one that made the lower low at 9.10. All of this was contained in there. And now this bar is just closed higher. Basically a breakout bar. So now we have a breakout back up to the upside. In a market that just made a lower low. So I can't take this. What do you do when people ask to trade for them? I just say no. I respectfully decline. That'd be like me going to Walmart or working there. Say cashier, right? Having someone else that works there say, hey, can you cover my shift? And, I'll still get paid for it, but you just cover my shift. And you won't get paid. No. Well, hopefully something develops soon. Well, if I'm going to add more size to a trade, I'm just going to do it for myself. Session's shaping up to be a little bit boring. Let's see, what was NASDAQ doing? Are any of the currencies doing something interesting? Not that I'm going to be able to trade them, but for you all. Dollar yen. Let's see here. Saying dollar yen low hanging fruit continuation from Friday. Oh, this was actually a double inside day where they've. Oh yeah, this is good. So market go up. Market make lower low. Market go inside and roll over. Market expand range. So we've got a period of contraction possibly leading to a period of expansion. Breakout, pullback, continuation. I don't know if I would be personally be doing that just because it's already hit one full expansion. Not to say that it can't keep going by any means. Just for me personally, you know, I usually will, if I'm trying to figure out whether or not I should be entering this, if I've still got room to get down to one full expansion, that'd be great. It's a lot of strength coming off that low, kind of like it was just a pullback. All right, 15. We're back on a 5 now. Good, good, good. Probably trade for another 30 minutes, and then if I don't see anything, I'm just going to be done. Especially on a no news Monday like this. I'm not going to force anything. Gold just keeps squeezing higher, which is impressive, but no setup. Now we've gone back to the high of the day as well. Really, still no trade though. That's my only problem with it. That's my only issue with it. Then I don't have enough caffeine in my system. Justice, I don't advise anybody. And I think that you're very focused on the wrong thing already. So I would say that, with a smaller amount, just stay on demo until you can get it a little bit larger amount. Because what tends to happen with smaller accounts is you want to make more, so you over leverage one time and then you blow it. So it's best just to get really good at risking the correct amount. Even if that amount is 1 penny. If you're only able to lose 1 penny, get really good at losing 1 penny and making 2. Scale it up from there. How about now? There we go. Holy cow. If you plug it, unplug it and plug it back in enough times, maybe it'll work. Maybe. It could work. Okay, market only does three things. We've broken out right now. And we're slamming back down. But will the breakout fail? I don't know. I do not know. All right. I'm watching US 30, but this is looking mighty strange that they popped up like that and then slammed it back down immediately so hard. We got 3 minutes left on this 5-minute bar. I'd be willing to wait for it to close and see if we've dropped it back down and gone sideways. Actually, I need a better visual reference. Hold on. Sometimes I have a hard time seeing it. I see. Yeah, I don't like that. I can't say that I like that at all. Not for the short anyways. So basically my thesis was the first red day, 3 peaks, lower low, higher high, high of day that fails. If this bar would have closed lower than 20 EMA, I would have felt better. Also, this bar does not put any shorts in profit at all. In fact, if you look, if I short best fill, this bar right here, actually, yeah, this bar or even this bar here, really, either of these, if I shorted either of these two bars, so best fill, that's how perfect things usually are. So they are really not letting shorts out. They did it down here. They trapped, captured, gave everybody the middle finger, worked them into the low, and then squeezed it off that low. broke back up to the high. And this is just the only reason I'm explaining this over and over again is just because this is very typical no news Monday behavior. Let's see how many people we can make get emotional. The only thing it has going for it is they've made the lower low, and they've done this 1, 2, 3 to the high. Engulfment at the high of the day. Broke down, pin hammer. Gone sideways. I don't think I'm going to take it, though. In fact, I think I'm going to call it quits. I think that no news Mondays, if there was something right off the open, I would have been fine. I would have been happy. But the way that they're just showing a lot of evidence of them trapping in this consolidation, I think I'm just going to hold out. Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to see you tomorrow. 9:15 a.m. Eastern time, ready to go. Hopefully the entire week is not trash. Hopefully we find a decent trade at some point this week. With the news schedule being a little bit light, like I said, it might be a narrow range week on a lot of things. So we're going to have to be very careful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow, 9:15. Bye-bye.